Hey everybody! So the other day I posted a thing about an octatonic scale, and I realized after some of the comments that I got that not everybody knows what an octatonic scale is, and you know what? That probably means that you have a life, so congratulations. And then I thought it might be fun for those of us who are music theory nerds, or maybe wannabe music theory nerds, to do something talking about the octatonic scale, because it sure got me out of a pinch in this particular project, and it's maybe its unique character is really what caused it to happen. So I've got main stage open here. Yeah. Okay, cool. And so let's play an octatonic scale. It's just a half step followed by a whole step, and that alternates half step, whole step, half step, so on and so forth, and eventually get back to C. So the scale sounds like. All right, so that's what the octatonic scale is. Now, it's sometimes sometimes called a diminished scale because it has one, not just one, but two diminished chords that are living within it. And what's cool about the octatonic scale is the notes that you omit by following that pattern make up the third and final of the three diminished chords. So it's kind of cool that that actually is what's happening in this particular scale. So one of the reasons I like the octatonic scale is because it has a familiar sound, but it also has an unfamiliar sound. It's familiar because you can hear that it has a pattern, but it's unfamiliar in that it's not a pattern that we hear a lot. So what ends up happening is our brain doesn't necessarily throw it out and doesn't register it as noise, right? But what it hears is something familiar in terms of, okay, our brain kind of gets it, but we don't have a lot of experience hearing it. If you know my piece Oracle, it is almost probably 95% octatonic scale. There's a few places where it didn't quite work all the way through, but that's okay because you have to make, kind of the decisions to make the music do what it needs to, and you can't always be legalistic about the way that you approach that sort of device. So here's something cool about the octatonic scale. It has a perfect fifth, it has a tritone, it has a major third, it has a minor third, it has no perfect fourth, it has a major seven, and it has a really cool expansive major sixth, and it has that lowered third, which gives it kind of a heavy metal, kind of prog rock sort of sound, which really, that's what Oracle is, right? So what you get is a lot of variety of sounds and a lot of really cool devices that you can use as a composer. Now, let's take a look at the actual piece. So here it is. Here's the piano reduction, and I'll just zoom in on this guy. This piano reduction shows that in this particular part of the music, this movement of this piece is an E flat major. And in order to have some sort of cool way to push the energy towards the end out beyond maybe what you would expect, I started looking at the possibility of stacking chords within the octatonic scale. And here's what I did. I ended up starting with just a stock E major chord and then walking it diatonically up using the scale to guide that. What's really cool is you get major and minor chords that are alternating. You don't get anything that's artificial, and you don't get anything that's outlandish or just sounds like, this kind of plinky-planky, dissonant kind of stuff. So what you end up getting is stuff that sounds like it really fits, but it is outside of what I had used in the harmonic language up to this piece. So I'll let you just listen to what this sounds like and the piano by itself, because that's how I tend to write a lot of things. It's just piano first. Yeah, cool. So, and I'll just turn that up and let you listen to that again, because that was a little soft. And what ends up happening is you get E flat major, and as you write through, you get the E flat major alternating minor. But then it eventually works you into an A major, which was minor just a moment ago, an E flat minor, which was major just a moment ago. So those are kind of happy accidents because I didn't really sit down and think, oh, it'd be really cool to alternate major and minor. Maybe I could get lucky. Absolutely, I got lucky on this. So then what I did was I took this really cool device that just worked out perfectly, and I said, okay, how would this fit over the wind instruments, because this is a band piece. And here it is in essentially everybody's usable range. All the keyed instruments and valved instruments partake in this scale device, including our good friends the euphoniums. And here's what it sounds like. And then, because it's in the key of E flat major, it made sense to have something that kind of held on to that E flat major. And so what I did was I put the dominant, the 5, those good old low B flats, yeah, in there against it, so it kind of helped ground it against the E flat major scale. You're going to hear at this little dotted half note gizmo at the end of the octatonic scale, you're actually in A major. And A major is as far as you can get from E flat major. So it's dissonant in its own way, but because it's a major chord, it doesn't sound dissonant in a just jamming the keys down on a keyboard sort of way. It sounds dissonant in a planned distance sort of way, if that makes sense. And then you hear it resolve. Yeah, it's E flat major again. And so what I try to do there at the end is kind of have a few more stabs where I could work some A major in for one more chance to kind of have a dominant tonic 5-to-1 sort of sound. But instead of it being this, which, okay, it's fine. But we've heard that a few times. Thank you, classical music. So what about just lowering that 5 down a half step? You get a much more dissonant sound. And what you hear is a kid that grew up listening to a lot of drum corps, but that's great, and I love it. So that's where that device works, and that's the octatonic scale. You don't necessarily hear it do this because of the way it's stacked and the way it's utilized, but there it is. It's easy to see how it turned into something really, really cool. So if I can get a good recording of this from the band that I wrote it for, I will post it and let you guys hear it. But in the meantime, I'll just have to give you these snippets. All right, have a great day. Music theory nerds unite.